We wheel the bunks in on the cart. We unwrap the bunk. We pull out all the staples. Our first machine is a Marine Johnson game grip saw. We generally line up 2 or 3 blades. They're just regular circular saw blades like you put on a table saw. The game grip rips 2 parallel sides, and that's important because the wood comes off of the bunks, and a lot of times it's straight enough. I think most manufacturers just rip one side, but we rip both sides because we want that dead straight. And then we have 2 parallel sides that are within 5 thousandths of each other usually, and it keeps our finished product really good. So the next step is we take the boards that have just been through the game grip and we move them over in front of the next saw that we use, which is called a optimizer, and it's basically a crosscut saw. What we do is we basically take that board that as it's coming out of the game grip, it's perfect height. Now we got to cut it to the perfect length for us. Simply lay it in there. We get the computer to the right setting, the right program. We get the machine up and running, the motor's going, blade ready, all the safety controls are off and ready to run. It quickly brings the board to the blade and it quickly cuts through our cutlass. Our biggest expense is wood, so we try and get the most yield we can from the board with the least amount of waste. As you look down the track, there's kickoffs. Just pneumatically kick off each board depending on its size, and we've lined those kickoffs up so it kicks off right in front of the correct machine. In the box machines, the whole purpose is to take that panel and take it from a rough product and add all of the detail that's needed to turn into a beehive. The first station is our trim saws, and the purpose is to cut the bottom of the board perpendicular to the sides of the board, and it'll cut it to the correct finish length. The second step is the dados, and what we have is a motor attached to a shaft that houses 5 pairs of blades. The blades are pretty thick. It rides up and down. It's got a pneumatic cylinder that raises the entire dado stack through the board and cuts what we call the finger joints. After the dados, it takes it to what we call the router station. The router is probably the most advanced part of the whole machine, and it's given us the most learning curve and the most challenges. It'll trim the height of the box, it'll come back and it'll plunge in, and it'll cut the frame rest to the correct depth. And then it'll go over, come out, and then it'll go back to its home position. It takes it to the next station, which is a handhold cutter. It'll raise the entire motor with the blade into the box, and it'll cut the exact profile for the handhold. And the next step is the last step, which is the gang drill station. There's a pneumatic cylinder that will lift the gang drill up into the box and pre-drill all the fingers. The last step is it takes the finished panel out onto the table for sorting and grading. Another thing to mention with the machine is there's what we call a shuttle, which basically takes the board from each step to the next step. Takes it from the hopper, through the trim saws, through the dados, through the router, through the handhold, through the gang drills, and the finished product. So to be competitive, we've come up with a different box design. On the inside, we come in with the router and route this out. So what that does is that creates the strength that we're looking for in this top finger joint. They have this really skinny little piece right here, and
when you have a frame in here and they have to use a hive tool to pry that out, and as they pry that out, a lot of times this top finger will break. And so we went with this design because this joint versus this joint is significantly stronger.